Dr. Olivia Moses, and welcome to today's program. This program is called Colorful Cooking. Now, you want to know why we call it Colorful Cooking? The reason is that every single episode we try to get all the colors of the rainbow on one plate. That might seem a little bit difficult to some of you, but it is a lot easier than you think. Now, why would we even want to get more colors on the plate? Well, number one, we eat with more than just our mouths. We eat with our eyes also. If things don't look beautiful, we think they don't taste wonderful. So color actually puts some prettiness to our plate. Another thing is the more colors we get on our plate, the actual nutrients that are on our plate go way, way up. So when we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, we have vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals all on that plate. Now, why make eating boring? So, of course, we got to put some color in it. So today we have a really, really great recipe for you. And it's using some things that you might not have ever used before. It is using something called quinoa. Now, if we go to our picture, quinoa is actually a plant that is harvested for its seeds, and it's pretty much native to South America. And we look at this, and this is what the actual seed or grain, for all intents and purposes, we use it for a grain. So I'm going to call it a grain. The Incas called it the mother of all grains, and we can cook it like rice. It is a good source of protein. It's actually probably the most protein you'll find in a grain, and it's gluten-free. So for all of you who are allergic to gluten or cannot eat gluten in their diet, absolutely quinoa is the grain for you. Now, what's exciting about this is a lot of people haven't tried it before. So I wanted to show you some pictures of what it actually looks like. So if we go to the pictures, this is what it looks like. Here's a little bit of a magnification of what the grain actually looks like. And this, of course, is uncooked. And then we magnify it again right here. Now, do you see how there's a little germ, or you see something kind of wrapped around that disc? When you cook it, that germ kind of unfolds and becomes a little tail. And here you have a picture of it actually cooked. Now, some of you might be thinking, this looks a little weird. What do I do with this? How do I prepare it? Well, we're going to have one preparation today, but there's many, many things you can actually do with this very, very cool ingredient. Now, with this as well, it comes with different kinds. Now, I want to show you two different kinds. You can find a white kind and a red kind in the grocery store. Unfortunately, right now, grocery stores, the major grocery stores probably don't have it because it is not as popular as it probably should be. So your local grocery store probably won't have quinoa in the aisle. However, your local health food store will definitely have it. Now, these are just different kinds. Red and white have a little bit of a different flavor, and it also gives a different color to the plate. Today we're going to be using the white one. So right now I have cooked quinoa right here, and here I kind of cheated. I didn't use a stove. I actually put it in my rice cooker. I put it in there and just left it and forgot about it, and it was perfectly done and cooked. Now, you want to cook this grain just like rice. So 1 cup of quinoa to 2 cups water. So you put it in there and you just leave it. Now, because here on Colorful Cooking, a lot of the recipes that we give you, you don't need a heating source, or if you're in a dorm room, you can make it in your dorm room. If you don't have a rice cooker, you can absolutely cook this in your microwave. So no heating appliances necessary that you'll get in trouble with your dean at the dormitory. You absolutely can make this in a microwave, and it comes out just fantastic. So quinoa is our special ingredient for today. So we're going to actually be making a quinoa salad. You can make all kinds of things, hot foods with quinoa, but today we're going to be doing a salad. So let's make our dressing, okay? Now, on our dressing, if we can pull up our ingredient list, we are going to have garlic, lemon juice, balsamic vinegar, if you like some heat with your dressings, crushed red pepper, salt, Dijon mustard, and extra virgin olive oil. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I am going to do our garlic here. Now, some people might think, oh my, she's using a ton of garlic. Well, when people say that's too much garlic, I don't even know what that means, because garlic is just one of my favorite ingredients. So I am going to cut this up really fine and put it in our bowl. Now, if you can see, we're not actually using a mixing bowl today, and the reason is, if you are like me, you don't want to wash a whole bunch of things in your kitchen. So if you actually, your serving bowl if you throw everything in your serving bowl, you will actually save on the amount of dishes that you actually wash. Now, that's probably one of the worst things about cooking to me is the dishes, because the eating part is the fun part, isn't it? So, if we smash all these garlic cloves up, we will do a very, very fine mince. Now, what I like usually doing is I like mixing the dressing first, because what happens when you mix the dressing first is you let the ingredients meld a little bit and let them sit a little bit. So that is always a good thing when the ingredients have time to kind of marry together. So I think that probably looks just about right for our garlic. And again, if you're not a big garlic fan, put as much garlic as you would like. So here we're going to chop this up really fine. And isn't it interesting, garlic for me, because I love it so much, as soon as I start chopping fresh garlic, I just start getting hungry because that aroma is so fantastic. So here we go with our garlic. So again, here on Colorful Cooking, we don't necessarily dictate all the ingredient amounts to you, because whatever you want to put in there and how much you want to put in there, it's left up to you. So here I'm going to do a very, very fine chop. If you want to mince it, that's fine too. If you buy the ready-made, pre-made garlic pastes, that's again fine too. So whatever garlic you like, absolutely use. So what we're going to do is we are going to put that in our serving bowl, because we're going to mix up our dressing. Oh, it smells good already, and it's only one ingredient. The next thing we're going to put on there is some lemon juice, and I like using the fresh lemon, but again, if you buy the bottle juices, that's fine too. But when you're using things for dressing, I like to use the fresh ingredients. Now what I'm doing is I'm rolling this lemon to kind of soften it up, to allow us to get as much juice out of it as possible, and it makes it a whole lot easier when we actually try to squeeze it. So I'm just going to cut this in half. Look how beautiful that is. So I'm going to squeeze the lemon juice right on top of our garlic here. Okay, right on top of our garlic. Have all that acid, wonderful. I love things that are sour. And you know, I like my sour and my savory more than I like my sour and my sweet. Like sweet sour candies, not my favorite, but you give me some sweet and spicy, I'm all over it. So we're going to have, right now, we're going to do we'll do the whole lemon, because I like my stuff sour. But again, if you're sensitive to acid, don't put as much as I'm putting here. Okay? So now, we seed overboard. Got to get that off. Okay, so we have our lemons all juiced and ready to go. I'm going to mix our garlic into the lemon juice a little bit, just so we can get nice coverage of the juice. Okay, now the next ingredient we have is balsamic vinegar. Now, balsamic vinegar is one of those things that a lot of people use to dip bread. You can do salad dressings. There's all kinds of things you can use balsamic vinegar for. So we're going to throw some balsamic vinegar, again, as much as you want. But remember, this is going to be a little acidy too. So vinegar and lemon juice, if you're super sensitive, you definitely want to just choose how much you're going to put in there. So look at that wonderful color. It's already brown. Oh, it smells great. Okay, so we have garlic, lemon juice, and we have our balsamic vinegar. Now, another thing that we can put in there is crushed chili, and this is the point you would put it in. However, I'm going to leave it out because I know some people don't like spicy. I like heat, but if you have guests that don't like heat, leave that ingredient out. We're going to throw some salt in here so that can meld in with all the flavors as well. Okay, and we're going to make a fairly big bowl of it, so just mix that in. And as you can see, because we have liquid in there, the salt is going to melt a little bit or dissolve. And then the next thing that you might not think about when you actually make these kinds of things is Dijon mustard. So we're going to throw some Dijon mustard in here as well. Okay. And again, if you're a little bit sensitive, I'm just going to put a little dollop in there. Okay? And then We're going to mix this up again. And what I like doing when I'm making dressings, I like to mix it up after every ingredient so we can get it incorporated really, really well. And it allows even more time for things to set up with the flavor. Okay. Oh my goodness, this is looking fantastic. Okay, now the next thing and the very last ingredient is extra virgin olive oil. Now, a little tip that I like to tell everybody about extra virgin olive oil is a fantastic oil that all of us should be cooking with because it is really great for our good cholesterol levels or our HDL levels. And I tell everyone, how do you remember if HDL is your good or bad cholesterol? H stands for healthy, so your healthy cholesterol levels. So you want to use olive oil. However, when you are cooking, olive oil can get pricey, and when you're cooking with it, you don't really need the really high-end olive oils because you're using other things. You're not really relying on the olive oil for that big, robust flavor. In your dressings, however, or if you're dipping bread in olive oil, you want to kind of spend a little bit money on the olive oil that you're buying because you're really relying on that olive oil for its flavor. Okay, so we're going to throw some olive oil in here. Okay, and I don't want to put too much in there because we're also conscious about our weight as well. So calories, calories, calories. So we're going to just let that sit there in our serving bowl again because we're trying to save our dishwashing after. There we go. Okay. Now, in that, we're going to now start with our salad. Now remember, we are trying to get all the colors of the rainbow. So if we go back to our ingredients list, we are going to go to our salad. Now I'm going to do our purple blue group first. Now here's a little trick. When you are actually doing onions, and maybe you're not the biggest onion fan ever, and you think onions are too strong, or maybe you like onions, but the onions you have is actually really strong, the thing is you can put it into something that is salty and acidy and will take that like bite out of the onion away. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this really fine because a lot of people don't like a big piece of onion in their mouth. And to take away the bite out of it, I'm going to stick this onion into the bowl with our dressing. Now I'm going to cut it because I want to see the colors in this. So I'm going to just cut it and kind of toss it. You see the wonderful purple colors. So that's our first color that we're getting in the bowl because we're colorful cooking. And right here, we're going to get more because I want to see more of that purple in there. Okay. And again, if you're not a big onion fan, put as little as you want in here. Okay. So that looks about right. And get some purple. And having that sit in that dressing right now is going to take really that bite and that really strong onion taste away, but you're going to get that onion flavor, and that's what we all want anyway. Okay, so let's start on our rainbow. So red, we have right here, red tomatoes. That is pretty much the biggest thing that people use to get red in their salads anyway. So we're going to cut the red tomato in there. Now, if you like the other kinds of tomatoes, use any kind of tomato that you want. Right now I'm using Roma tomatoes. They were the ones that looked the freshest in the store actually, so that's why I bought the Roma. Now, if you actually like big chunky salads, by all means, please don't take what I'm doing right now as the law. Make big chunky red tomatoes. So look at how I'm cutting the tomatoes. The tomatoes are fairly small. So we are going to put our very small diced tomatoes. I like my things cut up small, but if you like the big chunky salads and you see the wonder, you want to show the nice beautiful leaves, absolutely do that. Okay, here we go. I have 2 tomatoes, and if you see that size, that's the kind of size that I like with my tomatoes. So I'm going to put 2 of them in here, and if it doesn't look like we have enough color, we just put more, because we want to make sure that on colorful cooking we get all the colors in, okay, and we see all the colors. So, and as you can see, a good knife is always a must when you're making salads. Okay, so here we go. Tomatoes, bright yellow, wonderful tomatoes that we have sitting in our bowl. Now, I do know that some of you probably grow your own tomatoes, and I'm jealous because that's the best thing. I went grocery shopping this morning, and I know some of you just go to your backyard and get them out. So if you do, absolutely use the wonderful tomatoes that you grow from your backyard in your salad. So here we go. We got our nicely diced tomatoes in our bowl. The next thing that we're going to do is our carrots. Now, we had our carrots in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to shred them. We're going to shred them with a nice shredder here, but first we're going to peel them. And a good peeler is a very good thing. Makes things go fast. Now, with peeling and grating, you want to make sure that you keep your fingers out of the way, because your fingers can definitely get in the way of all of these things, and getting cut is the worst. Even if it's small. Have you noticed a small cut can be as painful as a big gash in your hand? Seems that way. So we want to be careful with our hands when we grate our carrots. And I have very small carrots here. You know, as we go, let's do it on the fly here. I am actually going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to grate the carrots. I'm actually going to cut them, because you see how small our carrots are here? I think they will look really good as round pieces in our salad. So that's what cooking's all about, right? On the fly, think what works best. So look at these wonderful carrots that I have, and I'm going to just cut them in rounds to get them into the bowl. So if you see what I'm doing right here, I'm cutting them round, because I had small carrots. If I had a bigger carrot, I probably would have shredded to get smaller pieces. But if you look at this wonderful orange color, we're serious about our colors here on Colorful Cooking. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Look at that right on with our tomatoes. I have 2 carrots so far that I'm going to cut up. And if I don't like how much orange I have, I'll do my last carrot that I have. But here we go. And we have our carrots in here for our orange. So if we think about the rainbow, we got our red, we got our orange. Now we have to do our yellow. So you will be so impressed with it is almost like the perfect yellow pepper that I found at the grocery store. How often does that happen? But when I saw it, I said, oh my, I have to use this. So again, whatever you find at your grocery store, look at all the colors and actually pick out what looks the most beautiful, because again, with Colorful Cooking, we're eating with our eyes. So I want to use the whole thing because it's just so beautiful. Okay, pull that out. Now, the little trick that I tell people with the pepper, sometimes what happens, if you can see here, do you see how slippery this skin is on the pepper? I like cutting my peppers, some people call it upside down. The reason I do that is because it actually catches the knife a lot easier, and you're less prone to cut yourself. So we cut it upside down or opposite. Okay, so there we go with our yellow, our beautiful pepper that actually looked like a magazine. So impressed at the grocery store. Now hopefully with watching Colorful Cooking, you actually look at your produce aisle a little differently, because you look at it as a rainbow, because it can be absolutely gorgeous when we're actually stopped to pay attention, not flying through the grocery store, and really think about what our plates are going to look like when we get them home. But if you look at that, look how wonderful that looks already. We have a red, orange, yellow with our yellow pepper. So while I'm chopping this, let's look at our ingredients again, what we're going to be using, because if you need to bring out your pen and pencil, this is a good time, because we want to make sure we have our ingredients up there long enough for you to write them down. But so far, for our dressing, we have garlic, lemon juice, balsamic vinegar. If you like the heat, crushed red pepper, add some salt, Dijon mustard, and extra virgin olive oil. And right now, we're cutting up our salad piece of it, and we have tomatoes, carrots, and yellow bell pepper. So look how gorgeous that is. Bright, vibrant color, because again, we're Colorful Cooking. Okay, here we go. I'm going to actually mix those up so you can actually see what that looks like with the purple onion. Oh, right there you could eat it. Okay, so Let's mix that up, and that can sit in the dressing for a little bit. We don't have to worry about that wilting because all of those are kind of hearty salad ingredients. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is going to do a cucumber. Now, there are different kinds of cucumbers out there. My personal favorite are these individually packaged seedless cucumbers. I love cucumbers, and I just have fallen in love with these, that I love using these. And they're not waxy, and so what I do with these, I never, ever, ever peel these particular cucumbers. I just cut them with the skin on and eat them. Okay? So again, I'm going to dice these really small. It's interesting, when I was growing up, we would have people over for Sabbath dinner or Sabbath lunch after church, and my job, my sister's job, was to make the drink, and my job was to make the salads. And look at this. Now we have a whole show based on that was my job when I was a kid, to make the salad. Okay, so here we go. We are chopping this wonderfully long, we're chopping for days. Okay, long cucumber, seedless cucumber, and we're going to throw this in there. And look at this. Do you see that every color that we add to the bowl, we're actually adding more vibrancy? Is that a word, vibrancy? Anyway, I made it up. Vibrancy to the bowl. Okay, so I'm going to mix that up again. And you know what? I think I want to see more green in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some basil. And basil is another wonderful ingredient, and the aroma, if you just open the package, you can smell the basil right off the bat, which is fantastic. Now, I want everybody to know, our audience out there, all you viewers, I want you to know that everything that I have used here today has been washed, because washing our vegetables is extremely important. We don't want anybody to get sick. And if any of you have actually gotten sick or some type of food poisoning in any way, you know you never want that to happen to you ever again in life, because it's absolutely miserable. So we want to definitely make sure that we wash our vegetables. So I'm going to chop the basil up and stick that also into our salad bowl. Now, because basil does have a strong flavor, I am going to cut it up fairly fine so it can incorporate into every mouthful that we eat. There we go. Okay, so here we go. We got our basil, and I'm going to tell you, oh my, the smell of that is fantastic. But look at this. All the colors are popping in here. Okay, so I am looking at this, and I still want more green because I think our cucumbers are getting lost in here. So I'm going to cut this other half of the cucumber here. Again, you can use any cucumber you want, but I like the seedless. They are my favorite, and you don't have to peel them. You can get more roughage. Okay. And I don't know why they seem more special. I do know that you might pay a little bit more for these seedless. They seem more special because it seems like they're all packaged up in a package. They're all individually wrapped. Okay, there we go. And I think that looks beautiful. Now I think we have the right amount of green in there for my liking. Okay, and I'm going to mix that all up. And again, remember, we had our salad dressing at the bottom, so we want to make sure that all of these things get incorporated into our salad dressing. Okay, there we go. So if you just serve this salad without even adding the quinoa, you got something fabulous. But now what we're going to do is we're going to add the quinoa in there. So here again, quinoa, that grain that maybe a lot of people have not tried before. If you have ever tried couscous, it is kind of like a couscous. So we are going to, in texture anyway. But the little tail or the little germ that comes out when you cook it actually is a little bit crunchy. So you actually get a crunch on there. So here we go. I probably cooked about 1.5 cups of quinoa. And here, let me mix that up and see what that looks like. Okay, look how beautiful this is. It smells great. You can definitely smell the lemon and the vinegar, and you can actually smell the basil coming out also. Look how beautiful this is. Okay, now what you might want to do when you make this, maybe for the first time, is try the quinoa by itself and make sure you like it. But if quinoa is not your thing, absolutely make this salad, make the dressing, and just use the vegetables. That works too. But remember, in this salad, not only do you have your wonderful grain, which has fiber, and quinoa has fiber, you also have the protein that we're really, really loving, because protein is going to make you full, and it's going to make you full for longer. So it is a really, really wonderful, robust salad here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plate this and we're going to taste it. So again, of course, isn't eating the best part of cooking? So let me get my plate out and we're going to try this, okay? Got our plate. And I want you to see how fabulous these colors are on this plate. And people are going to think you're really, really doing something exotic because they probably never have seen this grain before. And you can tell them all about the protein and the fiber that they're getting just from this one plate. And you show them something really cool and different. And again, I made this in the rice cooker, but you can absolutely make it in the microwave. Okay, so let's see. Got some really delicious things going on here. Okay, so let's taste this. You remember how I said I love the salty and the sour? You get that salty and sour taste, and you get the nutty taste of the quinoa, and then you have the sweetness of the tomato and the carrots. Absolutely, I would say this is the perfect plate right here. You don't need even anything else. You don't even have to use this as a first course. Use this as the whole meal because it's that fantastic. So again, let's look at our ingredients. For our dressing, we used garlic, we used lemon juice, balsamic vinegar. Again, if you like heat, you want to use crushed red chili, salt, Dijon mustard, and extra virgin olive oil. And you want to get the good stuff when you use the extra virgin olive oil for your dressings. Now the salad, we had the quinoa, and if you are from Bolivia, you pronounce it quinoa. Then we have the tomatoes, the carrots, the yellow bell pepper, the basil, and the purple onion. So we have our red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Because what we try to do here on Colorful Cooking is eat the entire rainbow and make sure it is on our plate. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you for some more Colorful Cooking.